and doing that race this weekend. So it's really great to be back here with all of you. So happy to be here with you. Welcome. Hello, Emoji J. Hi, Becky. Hello, Tatiana. Super great to have you here. So we're in for a really exciting show, everyone. So happy to have you here. And today you're going to get to meet one of my closest friends. And for those of you who are new to the show, this show is called Make an Impact. And today we're going to talk about how to bring purpose to life. So our show is about how to make a difference to those around you. So each week we have a great guest to help us understand and better appreciate what we can do with our lives, with our work, to make a difference to the people that we care about in our lives. And this week we couldn't be luckier, because this week we have our featured guest, Matthew. So in each show, we talk about the foundational principle that it takes for us to make the difference we want to make in the world. Our lives, we're on the planet to make some kind of impact on the world. That is just what human beings exist for. And if you're tuning into the show, you feel the same way. And great to have you here, DJ. Welcome. And so on this show, we have a very special guest today with Matthew, who has been living a life of purpose. Matthew has been touching people's lives ever since time dot, really, but particularly as soon as he graduated university, Matthew went into the Peace Corps to dedicate some of his time to help people who were in the developing world, young people in the developing world. And it was very inspiring to hear his story. And you're going to get to hear about that now. And he has continued this path of making a difference throughout his entire life. And so we have a real special privilege today. For those of you who are on this platform, you'll know Matthew, otherwise known as More Miserables. You'll know him as one of the most special and amazing top badges we have. He touches the lives of people through his shows, including a show called The Forgiveness Project, which I had the privilege of being a guest on previously. And it's a special show that he runs every other week, which is about what we can do to forgive those that can sometimes be almost impossible to forgive or very difficult to imagine how to do it. And so if you're going to find out about his shows, you're going to find out about his stream, you're going to find out about the work that Matthew does with youth as a law enforcement officer to help put youth on the right path that have definitely gone off the ideal pathway. And Matthew brings his sense of unconditional love, his sense of deep caring for other people to do that. So you're going to find out all about that from this inspiring man. So for those who have been to the show before, we always start with a song, because on my stream I play music and sing. So I'm going to play a song now, and I'm going to play a song called There's a Reason. And what I like about this song is that it allows us to consider that whatever's happening in our lives, whatever's going on around us, there is a reason. There's something we can take away from it. And I have to say that I think Matthew is one of the most special people that I know in the world. And I'm grateful every day that I know this man. And so for me, there's a reason I have met him. And it's thanks to his support and thanks to his encouragement that the show even exists. So really big thank you to you, Matthew, for being here today, but also thank you for all the contribution you've been to me, to my streaming, and to this show. All right, so let's start with the song. There's a Reason. And for those of you who notice, I've got a little bit of a cold. Run 100 miles, you might have a hoarse throat. So you'll just have to bear with me. Welcome to all the people who've been walking in the room. If you're one of my bouncers, please welcome everybody as they come in. Great to see you, Craigie. How you doing? Lost in a strange new world, looking for a point of familiarity. Sometimes it seems as if we're alone, as we search to find ourselves. It seems that life is full of adversity. It seems too often the best laid plans fall through. Sometimes it seems as if the tough times will never end, and we ask, why me? Why me? I believe there's a reason for the challenges that we face. I believe there's a reason for the choices that we have. I believe there's a reason for the people that we meet. I believe there's a reason for the events in our lives. So my friend, expect in your life that there'll be fires that you have to walk through, that your life may not always be easy, but that your struggles will make you stronger. I believe there's a reason for the challenges that we face. I believe there's a reason for the choices that we have. I believe there's a reason for the people that we meet. I believe there's a reason. I believe there's a reason for the challenges that we face. I believe there's a reason for the choices that we have. I believe there's a reason for the Matthews that we meet. I believe there's a reason. Hold your head up high, 'cause I believe in you. There's nothing you can't do. 'Cause I believe in you. Life is yours, take control. 'Cause I believe in you. I believe anything is possible. And I believe in you. Oh, 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 oh. When you think you can't make it through, I'll always be right here to help you. I believe there's a reason for the blessings in our lives, blessings such as good friends, as you. Welcome everybody who's just joining the show. This is Make an Impact with me, your host, Gabriel. And our show is about how to make a difference to those around you. That's one of my original songs called There's a Reason. And it's apt because meeting somebody like Matthew in our lives, there's a reason we meet great people like this to inspire us to be the best that we can. It's a real privilege to have Matthew, top badge, top streamer here on the platform, but also one of the best people I know and has become a really close friend of mine. And for those who are just walking in the room, our show is about how to make a difference to those around you. And we feature somebody each week who's making a difference to the lives of those around them, and we talk about what they've been doing and how they've been doing it and what lessons we can learn from them. And today we're going to get to meet Matthew. So we'll start by getting clarity. What do we mean by this idea of purpose? And then we're going to talk about what Matthew has been doing to bring that purpose to life. And then now because we have Matthew, who is a top streamer, normally at the end of my show, I give a tip on how, what you can do to use this purpose mindset in the way that you operate here on the platform as a streamer, if you're one of our streamers. But today, since we have someone who's actually an expert on how to be the best streamer there is possible to be, we're going to ask Matthew what he thinks the top tip should be, right? What would we all learn from his great experience and the difference he's making through his streams? What can we learn from him? So rather than me giving you an idea, we're going to actually take it from someone who's an actual expert on it. So we're looking forward to that. All right. So this is our guest, Matthew, more miserable, top streamer on this app, law enforcement officer that helps youth to get on the right path. And he's going to tell you more about what he does. So, but before we get into that, let's start with this concept of the purpose mindset. What does that mean? We have this idea of the purpose mindset because it is the attitude that you bring to everything you do. Everything you do. And it's 3.0 because there's 3 levels. So that first level, 1.0 mindset, we often call it. This is like this I receive. Life is just happening to you. Life is just coming at you, and you're just dealing with it as it hits you in the face, right? So you're focused on getting things done. You're busy. You're ticking boxes. Your attention is on getting the job done, or trying to get your work done so that you can get your grades if you're a student. And if we're an organization or a business, we're focused on making money, profit-centric, right? So the thing in red there is like, oh, let's just make some money. We all know what it's like to work with a company or to do business with a company that's only caring about making money. And we all know what it's like to dealing with people who, for example, only want money from you if they're a salesperson, or maybe even on the platform if all they care about is diamonds. You've heard people who are like that, right? So that's a 1.0 mentality. And how do you know where you're bringing a 1.0 mindset to what you're dealing with? Is it looks like everything is someone else's fault or someone else's doing, right? So if you notice that you find yourself blaming someone else besides, yourself, like looking at yourself and what you can bring, what you can do, what you can learn. Anytime we're looking outside for that reason why it is the way it is, that's bringing a 1.0 mindset, right? So that creates a particular experience. It's not a bad thing. It's not wrong. It just kind of creates a particular experience of our lives that's not fulfilling, right? It makes it difficult to get out of circumstances when that 1.0 mentality, right? So 2.0 is this participation mentality. We're a driver in our lives, not just a passenger. And the comedy is that imagine you're in a car. The reality is in your life, you're in the driving seat, at least. Right? You're in the driving seat of your life. Now, if you ever tried to be in the driving seat of a car, pretending you're a passenger, I wonder how many car accidents you get into. So if you look back on your life and you notice that you've had a lot of crashes, maybe you've been 1.0 in that area of your life, right? So you can, when we're talking about 2.0, we're talking about being participative. We're producing instead of just being busy. We're making something happen. We're producing results. And we're thinking longer term about our career, our resume or CV. And businesses are being people-centric. They care about their customers and the communities and things that they're a part of. And they really care about their employees. That's a 2.0 participation mindset. That driver mentality. Really powerful place to be. But here on this show, we talk about even the next level up, right? And our guest today, Matthew, is someone who you will find is almost always at this 3.0 mindset, just about any time you're interacting with him. Right? He's a co-creator. So with 3.0 mindset is when we're co-creating the world around us. We're designing our lives. We don't look at the work that we do on a daily basis as a point in time effort or even a career advancement activity, but rather we think about the difference we want to make in the world, and then our job and the projects and even what we do in our spare time is all about making that difference. And we design our lives all around it. We just, our purpose everywhere. We can't help it, right? So we're thinking strategically, we're taking ownership, and we're focused on making a difference and having an impact. And as an organization, if you're a business or business leader, you're thinking about what's the purpose of our organization and how are we as an organization making a difference in the world, not just serving our clients, customers, and employees. So that's that designer co-creation mindset. So if you look at your life, look at any area of your life, it could be at work, for example, or it could be in your personal life or somewhere else, where you look at what role, what mindset am I bringing? What mindset am I bringing? Am I bringing a 1.0 passenger mindset to my workplace, just getting the job done? 2.0, where like what I'm doing here is kind of got a part of a bigger picture. I've got a career. I'm trying to build something here. Or 3.0, where actually I'm using my work as a vehicle to fulfill what I'm here on the planet for. That's that 3.0 thinking, right? And you're also here to fulfill what that organization you're a part of is on the planet for. So in the chat, please type what you see yourself. Are you at work right now or in an important relationship right now being 1.0? It's over there with them. I'm in the passenger seat. You know, the situation is outside my hands. That's 1.0. 2.0 is, well, I'm steering where the ship is going. Or 3.0, you know what? This is part of my bigger picture. I'm here to make a difference in the world. And this job or this relationship or this thing I'm doing is all part of that vision. So put in the chat where you see yourself. 1.0. We got Nurit with 1.0. We've got Vampy 1.0. Hello, Baby Blue. Welcome. Great to have you here. And for those who are new to the show or a show, the show oftentimes is difficult for me to follow everything you're typing in the stream. So please be gracious with me if I don't see your chat. Hopefully my friends in red will help kind of get your attention and help you with anything that you're saying. Cobra sees themselves as 1.0, and we're happy to have you here. Okay, great. Let's see. We have 2.5 for Tatiana. Well done. Tatiana's been one of our guests. Chaz, woo! Yes, Baby Blue. Yes, great. Great. Good to have you guys here. Alice is 2.0, upgrading to 3.0. Well done, Alice. Alice has also been a guest of ours on the show. Really great to have you here, Alice. DJ is 6.0. He sees himself off the charts. Come on, DJ. Excellent. All right. But it is, if you notice that things aren't going the way you want in some aspect of your life, in any aspect at all, you can go to this, right? And say, well, what mindset am I bringing right now? Because just because we're 3.0 mindset doesn't mean we're 3.0 mindset in every millisecond of our lives, right? So sometimes, you know, I go to the airport. Oh, this is really funny, right? I went to the airport. And then like I had to like do all this extra paperwork and tests and all that. By the way, if you're traveling right now internationally and you don't know this yet, because I didn't realize the full extent, the rules have changed way beyond what you ever imagined were possible. And I'm there at the front of the counter talking to the receptionist, or not the receptionist, the agent, you know, and they wanted more paperwork from me. They wanted me to do some things and do tests. I had to do a test before I could come back to the UK. I'm like, what? I didn't know that. They're like, but you got sent an email. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't really read it in thorough. Like there's so much you have to do now. So many things. I'm like, I thought I was vaccinated and I didn't have to do all this other stuff that everybody's been talking about having to do. No, you still have to do it. So, of course, it delayed everything for me. I was frustrated. I was like, oh, it's all their fault. Everything's out there. It's 1.0. Like, no, actually, if I had sat down, did my planning before I left, you know, and really thought through and read all the materials, I would have known, okay, I need to kind of really create this whole trip and think about all these new aspects. But I didn't do that. I was passenger, literally passenger. And it didn't go that great, right? So I got here by the skin of my teeth, but I tell you what, it was hard work. So that 1.0 mentality is something we can all fall into. It's not always the case we're sitting at 3.0. So something to bear in mind if you're finding some area is disappointing you, ask yourself, where am I being here? 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Really useful tool to kind of get ourselves to step back and upgrade perhaps our mindset. All right, so if we're going to be purpose-centric, if we're going to have a purpose-centric mindset, we've got to figure out, what does purpose mean anyway, right? So this idea of purpose, if you talk to anyone about being purpose, they will give you a long-winded explanation, but we use a really straightforward analogy for purpose here. We use the analogy of a mug. A mug is a receptacle for hot beverages, right? But a mug can be used for other things. For example, if you have some pens, pencils, and so forth on your desk that you need to put in something, you could put them in a mug on your desk. Now, is that what the mug is for? Not really. You don't get to use the cool insulating properties and the awesome handle of the mug when you're using it as a pencil holder. But you can use it for that. And it's the same for us as people, right? As people, we can figure out what the world will use us for, and we can declare that. Now, the world will use us for whatever we're nearby for. And if you wanted a pencil holder, you could go to IKEA or someplace and buy one. But if you don't create and declare what you're for, someone wants to put some pencils in something, they're just going to reach for you because you're the nearest thing. So if you don't declare what your purpose is, someone else will make one up for you. Right? So it's really important for us to get clarity of our purpose so that we can fulfill on it. And the reality is, your purpose is always talking to you. Always talking to you. If you're experiencing moments in your life when you're fulfilled, when you feel that sensation that you're really making a difference with your life, that's fulfillment. And those moments is your purpose talking to you. But the other side of the purpose coin is frustrations. Those things that really get under your skin, it really bother you. You know, you just don't, it's such profound, deep frustration. That hints at our purpose talking to us too. Our purpose is so a part of who we are that it's kind of our experience of the whole world is on the backdrop of our purpose. So in order to get clarity of your purpose, you make two lists. You make a list of the moments that you experience fulfillment, when you feel like you're making a difference in the world, and moments of frustration that things get under your skin. And with that list, you look for the common themes, common threads there to help you identify what matters to you. And that's what, and we're going to share Matthew's lists as well, because Matthew has been living a purposeful life. And so we work together to find out, well, how could we articulate that? How could we say that as a sentence so that he can kind of share it with other people? And those of you go to Matthew's stream, More Miserable stream, you'll know how purposeful he is. And this purpose won't surprise you in the slightest, by the way, because it is who he is, right? Now, when we have that purpose mindset, and we know what we're for, right? Most of us in the workplace, in our jobs, experience that the organizations we work for may say they have lofty goals of making an impact in the world. That's that top arrow, the enterprise intent. But our day-to-day life experience is that we're at that bottom arrow, right? That we're not making a big difference with our day-to-day work. There's a lot of stuff we do that doesn't seem to make much of a difference, right? So that's that bottom arrow there. So that gap between what's possible for your organization and your day-to-day experience represents your opportunity to be fulfilled. That's your impact opportunity, where you can make a difference where you study or work. So how do we bring our purpose to life? You make your list of fulfillments, you make your list of frustrations, and you get to the theme of what they are. And you create a purpose statement, a statement that summarizes what you're about. And then you take action. You take action consistent with that. And we're going to hear from Matthew today about the many things that he does that express his purpose in the world. You're going to be moved and inspired by all the great things he does and all the great work that he does. So Matthew, this is your opportunity. Please request the box, Matthew. Let's introduce our amazing friend and top streamer, Matthew More Miserables. See, looking, okay, great. He'll be coming in just a moment. So let me catch up on the comments while Matthew's coming in. Blaze, great to have you here, Blaze. Becky, Ryan, good to see you. Power hugs to you, Ryan. Chaz says, buy a horse. Yes, Yes, let's see here. Great to have you here. Yes, Matthew is amazing. Chaz is bringing the donuts. We love it. Yes. Belle, yes, it's all, and knowing your self-worth is really important, Becky. That's absolutely right. Okay, here we go. Yes. Hit that favorite. It's great to have all of you guys here. It's good to see you. Ryan, awesome. Ryan is an amazing singer, by the way. He's coming all the way from the Philippines. And then we have Blaze. If you guys don't know Blaze, Blaze is, kind of grappling with with life and making the most of life every day. He's a very inspiring man who's grappling with health at the moment. And every day you talk to him, he's bringing a positive 3.0 mindset in the face of extreme adversity. So he's definitely somebody to be inspired by. All right, and here we go. We've got Matthew coming in. Welcome, Matthew. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Very good. Hello. Come on, everybody, please welcome the one, the only Matthew More Miserables to the stream. Yes.
Is my hair okay?
Your hair looks great. I was going to say your hair looks great.
I'm always making sure that.
Yes, Alice. Yes. Oh, that's so great. Yeah, you look great. And everybody meet Matthew. You can see he's not just got a heart the size of the moon. He's got a winning smile, twinkling eyes, and really gorgeous person, as you can readily see there. So all the single ladies out there, take note. This is an awesome man.
I appreciate it.
Great to have you here, Matthew. How are you today?
I'm feeling okay. A little tired, but I'm doing well.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm definitely feeling the 100-mile race. I took a spill. I took a fall. I landed on my side. It's all normal in a 100-mile race that you're going to fall at least once, because that's a lot of steps, right? And now I had a sore back, so I was carrying my luggage. I'm like, ugh. And when I laugh, it hurts. And what do? I laugh more. All right, Matthew. Now, it's really unlikely that anyone who comes to my stream doesn't know who you are, but there is that remote possibility that there are people in our stream today who don't know much about you. So could you just start by introducing yourself to everyone here?
Well, my name is, like Gabriel said, my name is Matthew. I go by the moniker More Miserable here on the app. I am a top streamer here on the app. I work in the juvenile justice system in my personal life and my career. And I'm also in grad school as well. So yes, got a full schedule going on. Always got something that I'm doing.
Yes, that's no doubt about that. And Cobra says they didn't know you. Well, I tell you what, Cobra, your life is about to alter. Hit him with a favorite. You will love every one of Matthew's streams. All right, great. Yes, the Forgiveness Project is absolutely amazing. So now, Matthew, we're just going to kind of get people orientated about your purpose. And we're going to do this by sharing, a little bit about the conversation we had when you made your two lists and reflected on your life and how your purpose has been showing up. And for everyone else's benefit, in order to get clarity of our purpose and have like a sentence that encapsulates our purpose, we make two lists. And the first list is that list of fulfillment. Those moments when we really experience we're making a difference and kind of have that warm fuzzy inside. And there were some instances you were sharing about with us that I'm going to invite you to share with everyone here, so they can kind of use that as a kind of vehicle for them exploring their own lives. Tell us a little bit about the fulfillment that came from being involved in the U.S. Peace Corps. And remember that there are some people here who are not from the United States, who may not even know what that is. So kind of give people an overview of what that is and what you found fulfilling about being involved in the Peace Corps.
Yes, so the Peace Corps is a diplomatic and humanitarian program from the federal government that serves at-risk and underdeveloped countries, meeting their technical needs, meeting and trying to foster peace and diplomacy by creating better understanding on the part of host countries by the United States and vice versa. So it is a program that it's been around for over 50 years. I spent my program was in Ukraine. I was in youth development, and my program was specifically to make to breach different program goals to create risk and needs assessments to reach communities with strong populations of at risk, gang affected, drug affected, or other problematic youth.
Wow, that's really amazing. And for those who don't know, my business partner that you will have met on some of the other shows here, other episodes, and particularly the early episode, Phyllis was also in the Peace Corps, and that was, let's see, that was about 50 years ago or something like that. So
she was one of the pioneers. She was one of the pioneers.
Yeah, that's right. So she did her work in Guatemala. And she founded the first women's weaving group there, which has been going for generations now and created economic sustainability. So it's an incredible program. And, the work that you do makes a huge difference there. And I'm certain there's a specific program, actually, that you said still runs, something called the Match Program. Tell us a little bit about that program.
So when I was in my host country, I worked with a few other volunteers, and one of the needs that we really felt that needed to be addressed was the overpopulation and the kind of neglect of orphanages in Ukraine. There's a very strong percentage. It's not like the United States, we have the foster care system. Many developed countries have the foster care system, but they just have giant orphanages where kids who have been removed from their home or they've been abandoned by their family. They live, and they don't have. They're very, like I said, they're very underserved. They're somewhat neglected. Not that the country's not doing what they can, but just based on their needs and just based on their circumstances and their resources. So what we did was we would look for. What we did is we went to the local English language university because none of us at the time spoke very good Russian or Ukrainian. So we figured, hey, we could probably meet some kids who speak pretty good English at the English language university. So we went to the local city and we offered to meet some of their English needs if they would volunteer on the weekends at some of these orphanages, playing soccer, playing games, ministering to these kids. And so it started very, very small group. It kept growing and growing and growing. It grew to the point where we were no longer having to exchange, basic English tutoring services or English lessons. It was just something that the community was doing then. And it just got bigger and bigger. And last I checked, it was still going on.
That's really amazing illustration there too, because as you can hear in what you're sharing there, you created something and you co-created it, right? So that what you did there was not just have this really great idea, but you got the local community involved, right? So you co-created it with people who are from there, and then you created it in a way that it would sustain, so it would last, right? And you were doing it in a way that was connecting these students to the other young people that needed support. And it was all co-creative, which is why it lasts, why it's sustained, is because you were bringing that 3.0. Let's co-create something here. Let's not just, because I know of a lot of aid programs and a lot of sort of stereotypical assistance programs will come into places that need help. And then they'll just like throw the help on people, right? And kind of have a prefabricated idea of what's going to make a difference, and they just do it to you. And that's kind of like a 1.0. You just take what I give you, you just receive, right? But what you've just described there is really moving, is that you did it in a very collaborative way. And that's a big part of how come it was so meaningful and so impactful, because it was done in a co-creative way.
Yes, and when these young students, these college English students, which they brought their friends, so it went beyond just the English students and just went. They found their own purpose in doing this. They maybe at first started out as just a way to get some great English lessons, but they found purpose in ministering to those kids. They found a connection with those kids. So we were facilitating the 3.0 of others, which was, not something that I necessarily had planned. I just wanted to meet the needs of the kids at that moment. But when that happened, I saw that's when the light bulb went off that this is going to be something that is really, really sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really great observation there. Really amazing. So for anybody who's listening, by the way, if you've just walked in the room, just walked into the show, Matthew is sharing with us moments in his life where he experienced making a real difference, being fulfilled in some of the work. And he just shared about his work in the Peace Corps, where he created this match program between university students locally in the Ukraine and young people in the orphanages, kids in the orphanages. And by putting that program together, it was done in a way that was co-creating and sustainable. And that connection continues to this day. So that's a really amazing example. And then tell us a little bit more, Matthew, about your work, what you do for a job. And then you can kind of give us an idea of your particular take on how to do that in a non-judgmental way, which I think is really powerful.
Right. So I work with victims and offenders of juvenile sexual crimes in the state of Texas. So, which can be a little bit intense. I started out just as your basic field probation officer and kind of developed my career along the way. So my job is to conduct risk and needs assessments in the community to make sure that offenders who are living in the community are living in a setting that is safe for them, safe for those they live with or near, or the schools they go to, developing safety plans, creating an environment that, like I said, is safe for all, making sure that the victims get the help they need. And in situations where the victims often are our siblings or family members who actually live in the home, it happens actually a lot more often than you'd probably think. We facilitate obviously after a great deal of time and rehabilitation, we facilitate staggered and gradual family reunifications.
Wow, that's really inspiring and really important. And you talked a little bit about when you work with young people who've done something like that, creating those kind of offenses. There's a particular attitude that you bring, a particular mindset that you have in the way that you interact with, which I think is a particularly useful way to look at it in law enforcement, in justice, in the justice system, which isn't always used, I suspect, in every context. Can you tell us a little bit about that non-judgmental approach that you take?
Yeah, it's always been kind of my personality. I've always tried very hard to see people the way God sees them and see them and try to do not judge people for their mistakes and see, because I wouldn't want to be judged for my worst mistakes because God knows I've made plenty. And yes, a sexual offense is probably arguably one of the worst offenses or worst things you can do. But at the same time, I take solace in knowing that most juveniles who commit these crimes don't do so they do so in response to some sort of trauma in their life. So it's just always been a very natural reflection of my personality to work with these types of offenders, because if you look at them as monsters, if you just dismiss these kinds of these offenders as, just lock them up and throw away the key, we need to get rid of them, you're not doing them any favor, you're not doing society any favor, and you're not really doing any favors to the survivors of their offenses. So I think it's really just kind of serendipitous that I kind of landed in this kind of position. I definitely would never have thought 15, 20 years ago that I would be doing this. If you would have asked me as a young lad, I wouldn't definitely not say, I want to work with juveniles who have problematic sexual behavior problems. But I think now looking at it in the context of stepping out of just a moment in time and looking at it in the grand scheme of things, it really makes sense that I'm here because it's a natural reflection of my personality to not judge others and see them for the good that's within them and want to bring that out.
Yeah, thank you for that favorite, Jake. And thank you guys. Keep sending gifts up to Matthew in the box. You can see how inspiring a man he is. If you haven't hit him with a favorite yet, please do that. This is a man who you want to be around as often as you can. When you see him on stream, definitely show up to his streams. You're always going to have a good time. And by the way, Matthew's talking about a serious subject, but he's usually playful and fun on his streams as well. So it's not always these heavy subjects that we're talking about today, but we are talking about how do you live a life that makes an impact, and that does involve working with people and making a difference. And I'm really moved, Matthew, by how you share this attitude that you're not judging people based on their worst action, and in fact you try to understand that probably stems from something else that's happened that they've been at the effect of, right? That they're in that 1.0 setting, right? And they think that that's all life is going to give them because they're just at the effect of their own lives. So they try to take some control, but not in a good way, right? That's a really like 1.0 kind of gone crazy sort of situation. And you've been working with people and families to reunify, to create that connection again, right? And you've been doing that, and then the other thing that you talked a bit about, and it really inspires you, is in addition to sort of that individual connection that you've been working with young people on, you also have fulfilling experiences with making policy or setting direction and a desire to do that. Tell us a little bit about how you see, how you want to make a difference with policy or with strategic direction.
Yeah, so I've always seen myself as just a natural leader. I've always been a problem solver by nature. And I've never been one to just, like you're talking about that one or two mindset. I almost feel is like that itching that I'm incomplete if I'm operating in that mode. I want to do something more. So while I'm very fulfilled in my role right now, I definitely see making a difference on a grander scale as opposed to a more direct care role, which I'm providing right now. So I am in grad school right now, getting my master's in public administration, and I hope to parlay that into more leadership and administrative roles, either within my department or in within a unit very similar, working with troubled youth. I'm like I said, I'm a problem solver by nature. I look at things and I think in a way that is maybe different than most, because I like to challenge others. I like to provoke others. I don't just go along. I don't just I'm one of those people. I'm very much not a sheep. I can't just I'll be the one person in church when everyone's like, "Yes, pastor," and I'll be like, "Really, pastor?"
Yes, that's right. And that's the key there, right? That it is really easy to take the popular route, but your fulfillment comes from finding that challenging the status quo, challenging the paradigms people are working with there. Right? It's a big part of what gives you that energy, because you know that you're pressing on something, even if it's just to test the validity of something, right? That you're pressing into that, you're provoking, as you use the word there, trying to get people to think. And I think that's a moment of fulfillment for you when you end up doing that. But it's also really important that you play that role.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, it gives me energy when I'm able to challenge people to think of things in a new way, or even if it's not a new way, but just challenge their own way of thinking. I mean, as you know, most of us struggle when we are talking or having a discussion to here to listen. A lot of us here to reply, here to respond. And so we, as a result of that, we get caught up in our own opinions and thoughts and closed-mindedness. So if I can challenge you a little bit to say, hey, what is the possibility in this situation that this may not be the right answer, or what if we looked at it this way, what would be the result? It's very fulfilling to me when we can get out of groupthink and start thinking for ourselves. And I think that's when the best ideas come from.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And I think that's really important. So for everyone who's listening to the to Matthew share about his fulfillments, these are times when Matthew experienced being fulfilled in his life. But then there's also frustrations, right? We all have frustrations. There's always things that frustrate us, and things that that's also hints, by the way. It's okay to be frustrated in life. It's okay to have frustrations. That's a hint that our purpose is talking to us, especially, particularly those profound frustrations. That's like, ah, you know.
Right.
And so you notice that as impactful a person as you are, and as purposeful as you live every sort of aspect of your life, your work life, your live streaming life, the shows you've chosen to design, the way you engage with the platform, you know, the way you are with people offline, all of those sort of things. You know, you're very fulfilled and very purposeful. But you notice, oh, I have frustrations in some areas as well. So tell us a little bit about, you know, the frustration around, hey, you know, you're playing the game, looking like all wonderful human beings are. It's like, you know, who's that special one, right? Tell us a little bit about that frustration.
I'm getting teared up just looking at these. I'm like, I'm definitely not going to cry on the show today. I think a big frustration for me, I mean, all of us want to find someone to love and find that one special person. I think a big one for me is not being a dad. I think that's I promised I wasn't going to do this. I promised I wasn't going to do this. I think there's a really, really big hole in my heart that I've felt for a long time, that I wanted to be a dad. And I love kids, and it's something that, you know, you have to have, obviously, I want to be in a relationship too. I want to have a wife. I want the whole family. But it's hard when I see my friends, you know, I see my friends with their families and with their kids. So that's a bit of a frustration, especially I think that one of the greatest purposes that we can do as people is have a family and, you know, leave that legacy behind. So, you know, as I'm getting older, and, you know, I realize I'm only 34, but as I'm getting older, it starts to get more and more frustrating and more disappointing, and sad when I'm not achieving that, and based on my current love life, not anywhere close. So
Top badge on that one yet. You're still working on your measures for the top badge on that front, right? But you know, one of the things that I want to point out something though, and thank you, Matthew, for sharing yourself so openly, you know, on the show here, because I think it's really important. I know you know this because of your shows that you do, particularly the Forgiveness Project, is that vulnerability is what allows people to see something else as possible. Especially if some of the people who are here today know you, they know you as, you know, really upbeat, really successful, really making a difference all the time. And, you know, now and again, you might say something about relationships, but like generally that's not front and center to the conversations you're having because you're busy making a difference to others. But one of the things that I want everyone to notice about these frustrations, someone might have a frustration that they're not in a relationship or they're not being a father, but why? Like the important question here was why it frustrated you, not just the subject that thing frustrated you, but your purpose was talking through that, in that you saw your eventual children as being a vehicle for creating and delivering unconditional love, right? It's creating a space where they can be anything they want to be in the world, and that there's someone who's got their back no matter what.
And
right?
We talked
about
that.
Say it again.
And I remember we had talked about that in our conversation. You had, you know, asked me about, what is it specifically about kids, just outside of leaving a legacy. And it's because it's like I want to be that kid, and I want to be there for that, either my child or children. I want to be their biggest cheerleader. I want to be there, you know, when they're having bad days, and be there to love them through their problems and their behavior issues and their accomplishments. And I want to be that solid object for them. It's something that it's definitely, like you said, an unconditional love is something that I try to base my whole life around, and I can't think of a better outlet for that than kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And a partner as well. And so you could see everyone, you could see how it's not, it's easy for someone to hear this if you're not understanding this 3.0 mindset. It's easy for a bystander to listen to this conversation at the beginning and say, oh, well, that's a silly thing to put there as a frustration. But when you listen, and the reason I mentioned that, it's not silly, and you know it, and I know it, and everyone who's listening to the stream knows it. But someone who didn't know, who wasn't in the conversation, might have that thought. And the reason I highlight that is because if you are watching the stream and you look at your frustration, oh, that's a silly frustration. It isn't a silly frustration, whatever your frustration is. Okay, it could be this, could be something else. The key that you saw Matthew do there is that he explored why it was a frustration. Like, what about it was the thing that was getting him? And that is the key. That's where your purpose lives. So when you're exploring your frustrations, it's really okay to look wherever the frustration is, but then engage in the why question, because that's where the information lives. And that's where you saw there's a real meaning behind Matthew's commitment to bring life into the world. And he lifts all of our lives up. So my goodness, he's going to be a great dad. I can't wait. I'm as excited as he, almost as excited as he is. I can't wait. All right. So we took those themes together and created together a purpose statement. So what's your purpose statement, Matthew?
Yes, I like it. I'm a collaborative provocateur for unconditional love. I love it.
Yes. Right. And bringing that connection, bringing unconditional love in, it's just really, really amazing that you do that. And everyone who knows you, everybody who comes to your stream knows that about you. Just extraordinary. So now you actually take action fulfilling on that, right? Yes. And so, tell us a little bit about, in particular, the Forgiveness Project, and how you use that as a vehicle for creating a space of unconditional love and connection.
Right. So the Forgiveness Project is actually based off a charity in the UK by the same name. And it was started by a woman named by the name of Marina Candicazino. And what she did was she took stories from all across the world from people who have been through just terrible, terrible traumas. Holocaust family survivors, survivors of bombings, terrorist attacks, rape, murder of family members. I mean, you name it, the worst of the worst. And she compiled their stories of their journey towards healing and forgiveness, and with the goal of creating what we call forgiveness culture and love culture, and the releasing of the right and that we have in our hearts when we're hurt to revenge and to hatred. Because, as you know, when we hold this right, which is a very natural response when we're hurt to want to hurt back, typically the people who we hurt back are not the people who hurt us. Typically the people we hurt back are other people, the ones that we love. Yeah. So what I've done here on the app is done something on a much more micro scale, just here in the live community, for people to share stories that they of hurts or pains that they've overcome. Maybe an ex-partner, maybe a family member. As you were on a great one of our greatest guests on the Forgiveness Project, when you shared about your father, an amazing episode, and that what they share the stories about what they've gone through that hurt, and then their story about healing and forgiveness and the blessing that has had on their life.
Yeah, it's a beautiful show, and I found it really moving, even as someone who was sharing a story that that I have shared before. It was a really moving. It's a really moving experience to really connect with that, what that process is. And I think anyone, by the way, if you're someone who's here in the stream and there's someone you found that you've had to overcome something to forgive them, the Forgiveness Project show that Matthew does is a really great space for you to share that moving story. So definitely reach out to Matthew and let him know that you have something that you can share. And I'm sure he'd be interested in hearing from you about that. Um,
Absolutely.
and you know, what other projects, either on the platform, off the platform, are you using, or do you want to bring attention to? You know, your other shows, or anything else that you're doing, so that people know about it and they can come and check it out as well.
Well, with regards to the app, we do have pet profiles every Wednesday, which I don't really know about if it's really so much about purpose focus, but it definitely brings a smile to everybody's face, which is honestly when I started streaming was the reason I started streaming. I have it. It was in my very first profile that I ever had on Meet Me. It used to say, didn't say all the stuff that it says now. It said, I stream to make you smile, which is, if you smiled, then I've done my job. And what could make you smile more than cute furry creatures? I also, again, grad school keeps me pretty busy, but I do volunteer in my free time. I do human trafficking awareness trainings here in Dallas County. And yeah, and then just in my normal stream, I try to provide a space where everybody feels valued. And if you ever come to my stream, you'll know that there's no bouncers in my stream. I don't, everyone is treated equal. Not dogging people who have bouncers, but just everyone is welcome. Everyone is loved. And I try to make sure that everybody is gets a smile on their face when they're in my stream.
And it's absolutely true, guys. Absolutely true. Please hit Matthew with a favorite. And you know, you are a top streamer on this app, and so we all look to you for your experience and wisdom. What would you say, Matthew, is a top tip for how we can bring that sense of purpose to our streaming, and increase the impact that we're making through our participation in the platform? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think the answer is really in your question is, I think, we need to find what is your purpose on the app. I think so many of us, and it really just depends on what you want to do here. If you're just here to kill some time, go live when you have some free time. There's nothing wrong with that. You might make a few new friends, kill some time until you do things in your real life. But if you're really looking to stream and be successful on the app, you really need to find out what your purpose is and what you're here to do. Are you here? There are some streamers that are more entertaining, through different ways, either their musical talent or their humor. Are you here because you're a big flirt, like some of the streamers? Sometimes I fall into that one. Mainly, but when I was coming up, when I was starting to generate a little bit of success, there was a streamer here named Poppy Stark, a great streamer here on the app, very entertaining, and he said, everybody who clicks onto your profile, they click for a reason, and they're coming into your stream to see something. So you want to figure out what you want those people to see and how you want those people to connect with you. Because the ones that stay, the ones that hit the star, the ones that come back are the ones that are going to connect with whatever you're creating in that space. So you need to figure out what that is. For me, like I said, there's nothing flashy about my stream. I do 2 different shows to make sure my content is relevant. But for the most part, I just create a space for people to feel welcome. There's a lot of people who come to my stream who tell me that I get kicked out of other people's stream. People, I'm different. I may be socially awkward. I may be, people didn't like me. They said I was annoying, but here you welcome me. You make me feel like home, like I'm home. So that's what I do. And, we're a ragtag bunch in my stream, but, we make it work, and it's a good place.
It really
like
is. No
we're like
question.
the island of misfit toys, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely my favorite stream to go to. So anyone who's not already hit Matthew More Miserables or More Miserable with a favorite, I always say it out loud like the way it's written so that people know how to type it when they search you.
Yeah,
It is a play. For anyone who doesn't know, it is a play on one of Matthew's favorite musicals, Les Miserables, right? So,
yes,
but Les is spelled L-E-S, which is why he said M-O-R.
that's more. So I'm the sequel.
That's right. It's so great, you know. So, but no kidding. If you haven't already hit Matthew with the favorite, please hit him with the favorite. Please send him gifts. Please go and check him out and spend time with this man. He's one of my absolute most amazing people I've ever met. We're good friends on and off the platform, and we became friends through the platform. So I'm just so lucky to have you in my life, Matthew. Thank you for everything that you've done, the contribution you've been to me, to this show, and to my confidence, really. I didn't really consider streaming as a great vehicle for fulfilling my purpose in the beginning. I just, wasn't really sure about that. But thanks to your encouragement, thanks to your, confidence and you seeing what's possible, you bringing that sort of collaboration, the provocation, the unconditional love helped me see that this is a great place for us to do this. And you have a lot of credit to take for what we're doing here. So thank you so much for all of that.
No, thank you. You're a wonderful friend. I love you tons.
All right. Thank you, Matthew.
Love you.
Yes, send those wheels. Yes, come on.
Good.
All right. Oh, that's great. Chris, thank you for the favorite. Thank you so much today for everyone. Becky, great to have you here. Small Town, thank you very much for the favorite. Everyone who's been here, been hitting the favorites, we so appreciate you. Thank you so much. Woo! Look at that. Evie, possible. Thank you very much, Matthew. We love you, my friend. Goodbye for now. Oh, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us for this. What has been, I can't believe that the hour went by that fast. It was just so quick. Oh my God, it was so good. So good. I was just so captivated by everything Matthew was saying. He's such an inspiring man. So we have this show every Tuesday at noon Eastern time. My goodness, the wheels are coming out. Thank you so much. Small Town, it's great to have you here. We appreciate having you in the stream. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for spinning the wheels. Thank you so much. But everybody, I really appreciate you guys being. Thank you also for your graciousness as I had a cold. For those who weren't here at the beginning of the stream, I was talking about how this weekend I ran a 100-mile race in Berlin, the route of the Berlin Wall. So you get a medal, and it's a commemorative race. So they commemorate someone who died crossing the wall in each race. And if you do the race under 24 hours, you get an extra buckle. So that's what I was doing this weekend. I arrived back this morning. So I'm still recovering, both physically and mentally. So you guys have been really gracious with me as I try and hold back, kind of coughs and try and sing over a raspy voice. So really, and a couple of typos in my slides. So thank you guys for being really gracious. And I look forward to seeing all of you on our show next week. Where we're going to have a really, really lovely guest called Vampy. She was in the room just now. Hello, Nick. Great to have you here. Cobra, it's great. Cobra, you don't take breaks. It's a non-stop race. There are 8 stations at points throughout the race, and you grab food, water, and things like that. You're wearing a running backpack, so you have water and nutrition in there, and so you're carrying that with you as you run. So if you need to use a toilet and things, at some aid stations they have toilets. But it's a non-stop race. It's a continuous race. So the clock doesn't stop just because you do. So if you have to there's a deadline to get to the finish line underneath. You have to be finished within 30 hours. And of course, like I say, I get mine under 24. I did it in 22 hours and 43 minutes, which was pretty good time. It's the one of the faster of my 100-mile runs. It's a really great race, but I took a bit of a spill and managed to hurt my side. So I've been trying to sit just a certain way so you don't see me wincing too much. So, Matthew, the only way I can make that many miles in 24 hours is with my car. That is so great. So great. That is really fun. So thank you guys all. I love all of you, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys again next week. We're going to have Vampy as our guest. We're going to really enjoy hearing about the journey she is on. And in the meantime, please, if you haven't already, hit the star next to my name. That's the favorite. Please hit that star so that you know when we go live again. Normally I'm playing the piano and singing on my streams, or I'm taking you with me on a run. So I'd love to have you with me. Thank you again for joining the show. Special thank you to Matthew for taking the time to be with us today, sharing his magic and the inspiration that he is with us. It has been a wonderful show, and I had a great time. Love you all, really, totally, and unconditionally. And I will see you guys again really soon.